Alright, so I want to talk about something that I found interesting, and I thought that you guys might as well, and that is the color changing that my green tree python did seemingly overnight.
You are here because the outside world rejects you.
So if you're unaware, green tree pythons, they start out as babies that are yellow or red, an orangish color or somewhere in there in between. And as they grow to adults, that's usually where the green color then comes in by the time they're adults, with different color speckling on them and whatnot. And I was under the impression by just seeing photos that this slow change to green just happened periodically through the sheds, and so that's where what I find interesting was that my snake, and this again may happen with others, she stayed green or yellow for immense amount of time, and honestly I thought, fingers crossed, that she was actually going to be hold a lot of yellow into adulthood, since she was still holding on to it. I wasn't seeing any green. Every time she shed, I wasn't seeing any green yet. Now the colors on her back, which we'll get close up and I'll show you some older footage. She had a little bit of a blue-gray on her scales around her body, but I wasn't seeing the green that I knew eventually she would supposedly turn into. So I happened to get this clip here, and then that was a Sunday night. I was feeding. She missed the rodent and bit the tongs, and that's why I snapped a photo to kind of show how goofy she was being. And then, long story short, she did eat that night, no problems. The next day, when I got home from work, I went to check to make certain that, that she'd kept the mouse down and make certain that there was no issues. And sure enough, that wasn't a problem. And I seen that she had shedded her skin. I seen it wrapped around some of the branches in here. And then I got to looking, and suddenly the snake that was 99% yellow yesterday is now like 97% green today. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It was literally just one shed, and she totally changed. And so I thought that was interesting. Again, I'm certain this has probably happened to other people. I'm just kind of sharing it because this is the first time I found, it's happened to me. Not that I've had many of these. And I just thought it'd be a fun story to tell you guys while giving you an update on how the green tree python is doing. As you can see, she is back into her hatchling enclosure, the enclosure you guys are most familiar with her growing up in. And she's about ready to be moved up. I am working on that. That will be a future video. I do want to get a second chondro, so we're gonna make a little chondro condo. It's gonna be built, both cages in mind, built together one top of the other, all custom made by myself. Again, future video coming up on the channel. So until then, she is back into this enclosure. If you're familiar, she was in a bioactive setup. And after listening to and reading some stuff online and listening to those people who keep green tree pythons, they have, their whole collections, green tree pythons, they breed, sleep, eat, everything green tree python. Listening to those people talk, not that it's impossible to keep a green tree python in a bioactive setup, because that's what I was trying before this cage. It could be difficult for long term, my understanding. So instead of just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it, it's my snake, I'm gonna do it my way, I'm gonna take their advice. I came back to a more simplistic design and or an easier design, and then we're going to build the next cage that she's going to go into, the next size up cage, which is going to be a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot cube. I'm going to build 2 of them again. I do want to get a second one, preferably a red neonate. I've never had a red neonate before. I've always had yellow ones. This is my 3rd green tree python. And so I would like to get a red neonate. Red's my favorite color, so I gotta at least get one. And if it happens that I end up with a pair, great. May end up just breeding them for fun a time or two in the future. If not, no worries. I'm not buying it to specifically be a breeder, but if it works out, it works out. Now, this was sold to me as a female, and I am fully aware of sexing green tree pythons when they're younger. I did not ask for it to be done. It was done prior to me purchasing the animal, before they knew I was going to purchase the animal. They had already sexed them, and from what I could tell from looking at the animal, everything seemed to be fine. And if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, sometimes when you sex green tree pythons, they have a delicate backbone, and you can cause damage to them in the process of trying to pop the hemipenes to see if it's male or female. It's often thought to wait till I think after a year of age or older before you try doing that. So save the hate comments. I did not ask for it to be done. I understand the risk, the dangers of doing that. I purchased the animal after examining it, make sure everything was good. So unless you still feel offended, by all means, leave it in the comments below. But anyways, I'm going to be feeding her later on tonight. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on with her, and to share that story of her color change, because I personally think it's fascinating, just a little interesting thing, and also kind of get some more candid video of her in her enclosure before we go on to that feeding video. Alright, so let's talk about this footage again. I didn't want to interrupt it the first time through, but this footage is, in my opinion, is pretty amazing. I'm pretty stoked that I've captured it. Lots going on here. So first off, we can see how wide that jaw is spreading and how those teeth are just holding on to that rodent. But what I also find interesting is that tube, that air tube that we are able to see from this position as well. That is not the same hole that the tongue comes out. You can actually see just a tip of the tongue just below that hole that is now opened. So this is not the hole that the tongue rests in. This is how the snake breathes when they are eating a large prey item. Because obviously as the prey item is in the mouth like this, it is going to be blocking their ability to breathe. So they stick that out, and that enables them to breathe while they're in the process of swallowing a large meal. So this is only the second time I've ever seen it, and fortunately that I've also been able to capture it on film. So that was pretty cool. So I really wanted to show you guys this footage just because I just think it's pretty badass. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll see what happens in the next video. Hopefully we can catch some more awesome stuff that can keep showing you some amazing content. Yeah!
Shut up and sit down.